Hello, everyone. My name is Maxine Mchinguzi, and this is not the way I wanted to do this speech. I wanted it to be something we did together, to be able to hear you, to see you, to share space. I know that this isn't the graduation you wanted either. This video will not replace what our graduation would have been, but I'm hoping to share my thoughts with you across time and space in hopes of connecting. Even though we're not physically there, I want to start by acknowledging that the land on which the University of Redlands stands, the land on which we have spent the last 4 years, was first home to and continues to be cared for by the Serrano and Kauai people. I would like to thank all the faculty, administrators, staff, wonderful custodians, families, and alumni who made our collective graduation possible. I would like to say congratulations to the class of 2020. It's been and continues to be a truly wild ride, but we made it. I wish I could encapsulate every single person's experience in this speech, but I'm hoping parts of the speech will resonate with each of you. As an international student, I'm often asked 3 questions over and over again. 1, where is that accent from? 2, how did you find Redlands? And 3, how long or far do you have to travel to get here? Now, by the time I finished my sophomore year, I'd been asked these questions so many times I stopped answering them altogether, simply because I did not have the patience. But today, I'm going to grace you all with some answers. 1, I have a South African accent, not British or whatever other ones came to mind. 2, I found Redlands after doing countless hours of research on this amazing thing called Google. And lastly, I travel about 10,424 miles, or the equivalent of 20 hours on a flight to get to Redlands, California. In all honesty, I see a lot of parallels with my trips to California and our 4-year journey here. Whenever I say journey, I feel like I'm a contestant on The Bachelor. Shout out Bachelor Nation. Regardless, the word holds true. This isn't it's not the journey, it's the destination kind of speech. It's about how a journey of 10,000 miles or 4 years begins with a single step. Let's take it all the way back to 2016, applying to college, or what a dreadful time college application season is. Writing essays, the SATs, paying application fees. A late congratulations to all of us for getting into Redlands. That one application fee was totally worth it. After my acceptance to the University of Redlands, I had to start doing a different kind of application. That's right, it was student visa time. My fellow international students can all relate. I had to fill in even more application forms and pay another application fee, even when I wasn't sure I would get it. But I did. My journey to Redlands typically starts with checking in at the airport. As someone who doesn't typically enjoy traveling by air, this is also the start of my anxiety. I move around asking for directions, desperately wanting to know where to go next. What does the scene remind you of? That's right, check-in day at Hunsaker. I will never forget when my mom and I had no idea where to go, but Ralphie stopped what he was doing and walked us all the way to Hunsaker to make sure we got there successfully. Check-in day highlights include student IDs and the unfortunate ID photos that still haunt us, those beloved Redlands lanyards that freshmen wear around their necks for the first few weeks until they realize it's just not that cool. The feeling of total and complete chaos. It all feels so monumental, but it is only the first step. Back at the airport, it's time to board. The precise moment you get to look around and see who will be coming along the journey with you. You pray the person in front of you doesn't recline their chair too far back, and the person behind you doesn't kick your chair. You try to time when to get to line, and you're always either too early or too late. We began our Redlands boarding experience at new student orientation. Put in groups, We look around to see the people we're going to spend the next few years with in the Redlands heat and start to wonder, who are we going to get close to? Who will be there for the late night runs to Target, parties on Greek Row, and all-nighters in the library? Once I'm in my seat, but before taking off, the air host begins to explain the rules of engagement, what is and is not allowed on the flight. The air hosts are there to alleviate the stress of the trip and make it even more comfortable. At the U of R, CAs and orientation leaders are our air hosts, there to give us guidance. Without my OLs, I definitely would have missed an orientation event or 7. Almost as soon as orientation starts, it's time for our parents and family members to depart. This is when reality hits us, when we realize that everything and everyone we have ever known will be left behind. It's time to take our next steps with different people. When my plane takes off, I look down through the window at the Johannesburg skyline and I realize that I'm about to find a new home. On my flights to Redlands, I'm in the air for over 20 hours. After takeoff, I hit cruising altitude. The seatbelt sign turns off, the lights dim, all the fearful flyers unclench. After a few months or years at Redlands, we finally reach cruising altitude 2. We have found our people, and we have found them in our own way. Joining the Johnson community, our teammates, rushing a Greek organization, or becoming a member of a CDI group. The terror of who we're going to eat our meals with at the Commons finally dissipates. The class of 2020 has done some amazing things at cruising altitude. We have seen the creation of a fraternity dedicated to the advancement of men of color, shout out GDR. We have helped to complete our fair share of over 300,000 community service hours. We have ensured that the hydrofloss to student ratio is 3:1. We have seen the first senior diversity inclusion officer. We have all at least completed 128 units. We have seen the first female mascot, I see you, Addie. We have witnessed Redlands become a top producer of Fulbright scholars, and we valiantly participated in the shortage of White Claws. A special shout out to faculty members who have become mentors and friends. We could not have reached cruising altitude or accomplished what we are able to without you. Once cruising altitude is reached by the plane, it's time for the always hit or miss part of every flight: food. No one understands the perils of dining more than a U of R student. Whether you miss Bon Appetit or you're a fan of Harvest Table, one truth remains. The people who work in the Commons are some of the kindest you will ever meet. I will always miss Lucy for her wonderful advice and be grateful for my conversations with Lydia and the way Carlotta can brighten even the darkest of days. Cruising altitude almost never lasts the whole flight. There's always turbulence. It's scary and uncomfortable and sometimes seems unending. We all experience our own form of turbulence at Redlands. Trying to do 243 definitions for Business 226, struggling with making tuition payments, dealing with mental health issues, losing a friend. These turbulent times are never easy. I specifically want to honor Jacob Green in this moment, a friend of many and an inspiration to us all. May his goal to teach the importance of love remain with us, and may we forever remember his contributions as a member of the class of 2020. Rest in power, Jacob Green. I think it is important to mention that my journey is typically cut into 2 parts. I fly from Johannesburg to New York, and then from New York to California. I think layovers may be one of my least favorite parts of flying, because after getting used to space, I have to move and start all over again. I believe layovers signify periods of change. I've seen professors come and go, friends transfer in and out of Redlands. Some of my peers change majors for the 3rd time. Fall 2019 was definitely the beginning of the end. Starting our last year felt like the 15-minute warning the pilot gives to prepare passengers for landing. Today, we are landing. Like wheels down, phones off of airplane mode, landing. We made it. But we're stuck on the tarmac, waiting to be released into the world. I finally arrive in California, and the same way that those 20 hours fly by, so have my 4 years with all of you. As I look around this place and reflect on how we have arrived at graduation, I reflect on all the amazing people I have met in this Redlands heat. The sorority sisters who have gone on late night runs to Target with me, the all-nighters in the library that have had me walking straight from armor class to class, and all I can say is how grateful I am for all the steps that we have taken together. Now, the journey of 10,000 miles does not end here. We will all continue to take steps and start other longer journeys. It doesn't feel like it now. Right now feels like a layover with the next flight delayed for an indefinable amount of time. But eventually, we'll take that next step. We will keep moving. The airline I take to America is South African Airways. Their slogan is bringing Africa to the world and the world to Africa. I'm so grateful that this African girl has seen the world and has hopefully shown a few of you what African hospitality is all about. Every flight with them ends with a parting message in Zulu, either hambani kahle, meaning go well, or sala kahle, meaning stay well. Before I go, I would like to say asante sana kwa wazazi wangu. Without my parents, these 4 years would not have been possible. And special mention to my mom for seeing me through all the periods of turbulence. Congratulations to the class of 2020 for all the steps you have taken to get to this moment. I hope you take Redlands to the world. Hambani kahle.